My Game of the Year 2019. Welcome back guys, it's Geek here. Yes, it's the last day of 2019 as of recording this, so I thought I would talk a little bit about the games that I liked and what I would say is my personal game of the year. Now I always do these a little bit sort of alternate, so they won't just be, oh, you know, Death Stranding is the game of the year, or Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is the game of the year. They're always a little bit quirkier, or maybe not as expected. So first of all, there's going to be 4 notable mentions, and then there'll be my game of the year. One of those notable mentions, I'm also given the title of most surprising. And these notable mentions are kind of quirky games, FMV games, puzzle games, that kind of thing, indie games. First one is going to be Dr. Decker Live. Now Dr. Decker is a really cool FMV game that I played, and this was a live version, an extra patient that was played live on Twitch, and we could all play along and ask questions to try and work out what their problem was. And you know, it's kind of experimental in that regard, and I thought it was very unique, worked really well. It was really fun, really engaging, and we all had a really good time doing it. So that's definitely a notable mention for me because of the fact that it was unique, it was live, and it was, you know, experimental, but it worked. And I'd love to see more of that kind of thing from FMV games and developers. Deveki Studios is great, so do check out their stuff. They've got Poem Monroe coming out soon, so I'll be checking that out as well. And then next up I have to mention the 13th Doll. Now this was a fan-made but licensed game, an homage, a sequel to The Seventh Guest, which is an old 90s FMV game which was very, very difficult. The puzzles are very difficult and it's known for that. It's also known for its cheesy kind of FMV feel, and the 13th Doll recaptured all of that. Played it recently. You can play as 2 different people with a couple of different endings. Played it all through and I enjoyed it. The level of difficulty on the puzzles was about right. Some were very difficult, some were, you know, well, they were all quite difficult, but some were really difficult. And yeah, it was a good fun experience, so, you know, fair play to them for doing that and creating it and getting it out. I think it was worth their time. And then my third notable mention is actually, it's a game, but it's not, there's no visuals to it as such. It's actually played via audio only, and it's from Owlfield, and it's called 3D Escape Room Frequency. So it's an escape room that you can play by yourself or with others in the comfort of your own home. And basically what we did is you put your headphones on, you listen to the clues, get a pen and paper, write down stuff and try and work it all out. And you had to do it within an hour, otherwise basically the earth gets destroyed pretty much. And I, of course, I did it within the hour. In fact, I had one of the best times I saw on Twitter when I posted it, to be fair. Just saying. And I played by myself as well, so, you know, extra points for me, I think. That was really fun. It was something a bit different. And I would definitely play more things like that. You get a few things like that these days, especially with like things like Alexa and stuff like that. You can play these games where it tells you to go left, or you say go left, go right, and, you know, it's kind of like the text-based games of old, but it's with your voice and with audio. And yeah, I thought it was quite unique and quite fun, and I definitely would recommend it. But now let's come on to my most surprising game of 2019. Now why it's surprising is because it was actually quite good. So this is about Alien Blackout. Now, us Alien fans have been waiting for a new game for a while. We really wanted the sequel to Alien Isolation. It doesn't look like it's ever going to happen. Not how we wanted it anyway. And then we also heard rumour about this new first-person game being developed. Eventually we heard that the new game coming out would be called Alien Blackout, and we all assumed it would be this new FPS, which it wasn't. They're still working on that, I think, you know, at a studio somewhere, so hopefully that's still coming. But we thought it was going to be that. And when it was announced, it wasn't either of the two things. It wasn't either really an Alien Isolation sequel, even though kind of it was, and it wasn't an FPS, so it wasn't anything we were expecting. It was a mobile game, but set with Amanda Ripley after the events of Alien Isolation, but obviously it's a mobile game, so it's not the same as Alien Isolation gameplay. It wasn't first person as such. So a lot of people lost it they weren't happy at all. They were like, no, not a mobile game, this isn't what we wanted. We want a first person or a proper sequel to Alien Isolation. So a lot of people were really angry. But I thought I'd give it a go. And like I say, I was surprised because it is a decent game. I am a bit disappointed it wasn't a proper fully fledged sequel to Alien Isolation. But, you know, it's not the FPS we were talking about. That still should hopefully be coming out. But it was a neat little game. It was a bit restrictive because it's on a mobile device and, you know, it's a bit small to see what you're doing. But I thought it was really clever. It's kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's type of feel to it, or Night Trap, that kind of thing. So you're telling people where to go and then making sure it gets blocked off and you look on the camera to see where the alien is. And it's a bit of a cat and mouse situation. And there's several levels. And, you know, I thought it was really good. It was actually quite scary as well when the alien gets you because you weren't concentrating, or when it gets, you know, the people you're trying to direct to safety. And I thought it was very clever. It was fun. It looked good because it had the proper aesthetic of Alien Isolation because they used some of the assets. And yeah, I thought it was a good game, especially for a mobile game. So that was my most surprising game of 2019. A mobile game. Didn't think I'd be listing one of those, but it was good. It was in the Alien universe, and so do check it out if you haven't already. And then we come on to my game of the year for 2019. Now this, in a way, shouldn't really be on the list, but it should, because it was re-released. It is Ghostbusters, the video game, remastered. So I played this really recently, to completion, and I loved it. Now this game originally came out in 2009, so it's going to have some limitations on things like graphics, even after being remastered. And for mine, for some reason, there were some issues sometimes with like cutscenes and things like that, and a couple of times it sort of would hang, and I'm not sure if that was my PC or whatever, but you know, it's one of those things. But it was really, really good. And if you watch my playthrough, you're going to think that I didn't like it at many points because I was so frustrated. And there is a negative to the game. The gameplay sometimes is frustrating because the AI is pretty poor. They get in your way, they don't do what you expect them to do, they don't help you out in the right way, and some of the controls are a bit clunky, and it's trying to work out how to use a proton pack to get an alien into a trap. You know, it's like, it's not the same as you doing it. If it was like a VR game and you had a controller like that, it would be a bit easier. With your mouse and stuff, it wasn't as easy as it maybe could have been, but you know, I still really, really enjoyed it. It was short as well, it's only like 7 hours long, something like that. But the reason why I loved it so much is because it just brings back those feels, guys. You know, it was very nostalgic. It's got all the crew back, you know, actually doing voice parts, and it was like a proper sequel to Ghostbusters 2. Yeah, it was just like a cool little story to continue to show where they are now in the 90s, you know, a few years after the events of Ghostbusters 2. And I just loved it, all the little Easter eggs of things that you know from the movies, and it was just, like I say, it was just very nostalgic and brought those feels back, especially because I even watched Ghostbusters 1 and 2 recently before I played it, because I usually watch them at Christmas time. And yeah, it was a really cool little game. It's not ridiculously long, so you can play through it quite easily. You can play it on like easy story mode, so you can just do it for the story. And it was just great seeing everyone back, and yeah, that was kind of like the sequel. That was like the third movie in a way, and I saw people rant about that all the time. Oh, it's like the third movie. And so I played it for that reason, and yeah, it is a really good little game to play. The gameplay is not like amazing, the graphics are okay. There's bits about it which make it very average, but because it was Ghostbusters, because everyone was back, because it was a story after the second movie, it just gets a lot of points for that reason. So that is my slightly alternate Game of the Year for 2019. And guys, I've got playthroughs of all these games on my channel, so do check them out if you haven't got the games yourself or don't want to buy the games yourself or haven't played them before. You can watch me play it if you want, but I would recommend you go and check these out. And that is it, guys. That is my last video of 2019. I might do a Star Wars review a couple of days time, something like that, but that is it. So thank you for all your likes and comments and subscribes and that kind of stuff, and watching my videos over 2019. Happy New Year. Here's to 2020. Stay with me, guys. Let's keep watching my stuff, yeah. So guys, that about do it for this one. Click like if you like that. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you on the next video. And until then, remember, if there's something strange in your neighbourhood, make sure you call He-Man. Okay, bye. Guys, if you're still here, you're awesome.
But as you are still here, why not check out some of my other videos? Oh, and if you haven't already, please click subscribe. Laters, haters.